Welcome to How I Got Successful podcast. My name is Priyanka, and today, founder at Mandonna, Falguni Mahajan is with us. She's making entrepreneurship feel approachable and inspiring. Let's welcome Falguni. Hi, Falguni. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Hi, Priyanka. Thank you for having me here. It's a pleasure.
So, can you share a pivotal moment or experience that made you realize you wanted to pursue entrepreneurship?
It might just be a pivotal moment for me, actually, since I was in in social sciences and political science as a field before, and I never thought I'd enter entrepreneurship. In fact, just 6 months back, or maybe more so, I was preparing for the prestigious civil service examination because I thought my calling was political science, public policy. So I want to enter and change the system. And one fine moment, like during the preparation, I realized, you know what, this is not what I want. So I have this thing where I ask myself every 6 months, so whatever you're doing, are you doing it right? And usually, most of the times, I get a different answer, like, no, you should switch. But with entrepreneurship, it has settled with me. So while I was preparing for UPSC, I had already started my Mandonna. And I realized what kept me going was, you know, Mandonna and the projects I was doing and the daily challenges that I subscribed to while pursuing Mandonna. And while preparing for the exam was tough, Mandonna was tougher, and I liked the tougher bit. And that's when I realized, you know what, if I like these challenges, I think those my true calling. And one of my favorite things is to understand how much impact does my work generate. And what I realized was doing something of your own, creating new ideas and acting on those ideas truly creates an impact. And it resonates with me so much that I entered this field.
Starting a business can be daunting. What were some of the initial challenges you faced and how did you overcome them?
So as of now, we are just 6 months old. We are still facing a lot of challenges. Building a business is definitely not easy. And the initial few phases are just a lot of personal challenges included. I think the first challenge that I faced was believing in myself and, countering, self-esteem and getting out of there that, especially the career transition, shifting from social sciences to entrepreneurship was a big go for me because everyone had told me that, business is not a cup of tea. It's not your cup of tea because you've never been a part of it. But now I've realized no one has to become part of anything to just understand it, to understand everything every day. Next, it was when I included other people in my journey. That was my thing. One of the major problems I still sometimes continue to face is keeping my team motivated. Money is one factor. Motivation is another. And post-COVID, I feel like environments have changed, working cultures have changed, and people need to stay motivated and have a, if not perfect, a balanced work life just to ensure that, to keep going. One of the main challenges was to also help my team know that they are growing with the organization and they are building their own personal brands through the organization. That was it. And third, it was also about getting people to recognize the brand. In the initial stages, I believe, credibility is a major factor. And one of the things that we have had a problem with is to establish our credibility. One thing I have learned through this journey of mine during the many 6 months that I've had is that you build your networks first and then you build your brand and then you build your worth. But I was going the other way around. I was building my worth first. I was, ensuring that the work we do, that the quality of work does not get diluted. That doesn't matter unless and until you have a network to reach out to. So that is one of the challenges I faced, and we are slowly overcoming it.
These are actually, I think, the kind of challenges which every entrepreneur face in the beginning.
Absolutely. Yeah, that is what I was told.
Okay, so Mentona has a unique approach to make entrepreneurship feel approachable. So, can you tell us about the inspiration behind the concept and how you turned that vision into reality?
I would love to actually. I was told that a business or an entrepreneurship model begins when you identify a gap. And now I was not actively looking for a gap because I think sometimes people just say, okay, let's look at different markets, Where is the gap? Let's fill in that gap, which is a right approach. For me, the approach came very naturally. It was during one of the classes, one of the feminism classes in Lady Shriram College that I've been out to. And we were having general discussions on gender. Now, gender as a concept has been attached with me ever since I've started speaking, started walking. It's as old as me. What I realized was there is a comprehensive need to have more discussions on gender, and at the same time also to ensure that there's a tangible impact. When I say tangible, an impact in numbers, to make sure that every organization, every workforce, every institution is inclusive and diverse, and it celebrates the entire India and not just some sections of India. So that is where the entire idea of Mandonna originated from. One of the basic needs that I thought had to be fulfilled was to have an Indian notion of gender, have an Indian definition of gender, because most of the literature that we have today is very Eurocentric. It tells us the Western concepts, it tells us the Western notions. And to understand our own society and to make a change in our own society's organizations, it is very much needed that we understand the concept through our own humans. And that's how Mandonna originated. The thing is that it started as a blog site. It was just me publishing blogs or other people publishing blogs. Today, it has turned into an actionable force where it wants to transform gender education and the realm of awareness and consulting by integrating it with social sciences. So, in totality, I'd call Mandonna a social enterprise.
Great work you're doing.
Thank you.
Entrepreneurship is often a roller coaster ride. So, can you share a specific challenge or setback you encountered and how it shaped your approach to business?
I think the only challenge that I can think that there have been again many challenges. But the worst one that hit me was when we got our first lead and we lost our first lead. So it happened too quickly, and we worked our again, when you get your first lead as a business, you know that this is your ultimate, this is your starting point, and you cannot lose that in any punches. But we did, and that was a highly demotivating factor for us and the entire team. What we exactly did was try to understand where the loopholes lied. The loopholes mainly lied in the matter of credibility itself. Again, as I said, the network building is priority numero uno, and later comes the other part. But we did not work on the networking bit. So we made sure now that we build a holistic database of networks and individuals to reach out to, build a solid outreach team, and never let that happen again. And of course, it will happen again, but just never let that demotivation stick to us so much that we don't pursue other actions to remediate. So now what we have done is we have understood slowly and gradually as we get more leads, as we do more work, we work in convergence and meet together. In fact, Mandonna has this culture, weekly meetings. We make sure that the meetings are shorter though, and we try to discuss the challenges that Mandonna is facing during that time. So everything is transparent, the mode of functioning is transparent, and we make sure that there is diversity even when we make decisions. So it's not just one man's army, it's a holistic team talking, deliberating, just trying to make sure that the goal is achieved. Yeah, any challenge we face, we discuss it. And just like in any other relationship, personal and non-personal for that matter, we communicate with each other and we try to overcome it.
Building a brand requires resilience. And how do you stay motivated during tough times, as you said before, also that you learned and then you stay motivated? So, how do you stay motivated at tough times? And what advice do you have for other facing similar challenges?
I wish I had just one answer for both of. One of the most important things to do to stay motivated is to have a bunch of people around you to help you stay in a positive environment, to help you stay motivated at times when you don't even believe in yourself. I think the tougher question is, what do you do when you yourself are not motivated and then you have to motivate a team of, let's say, 50 people to work? And that has been really challenging, but it goes every day. It comes as a challenge every day. It surpasses as a challenge every day. One thing I mainly ensure is to keep working, keep doing every bit to ensure that things go the way they are. things shouldn't go downhill. Either things should go the same way they were yesterday or up, or it goes up, nothing beyond that. And I think my team has also now understood how that works. So the best thing is to ensure that just to accept the fact that entrepreneurship itself is a balance of negative and positive things happening to you every day. In fact, every day is a 50-50 challenge and competence. But the acceptance of the fact helps you realize that this will happen with me, this will happen with anyone else. The only thing is that I have to be solution oriented and I have to make sure that that mindset kicks in the moment there is a challenge. To be solution oriented, there are a couple of self-help books that I read and that I read all over just to make sure that, I rest that way. I rest resilient in times, in the tough times. Because if I lose it, I can't at least make my team also lose it. So the best thing is to make sure that you have this pressure of keeping your team motivated before you. And that pressure helps you do all sorts of things to ensure that that happens.
Mandonna is not just a business, it's a platform that inspires. So, how do you see your brand making a positive impact on aspiring entrepreneurs?
For aspiring entrepreneurs, I think I just have one thing to say. If I could do it, I think everyone can. And the next thing is, if there's something that interests you, just go ahead with it. Whatever you are building it for yourself. I know businesses follow a different tactic. They say, you do it for the market. You follow the typical demand supply. I get that. And of course, that is one of the most important parts. But whatever you are getting into as a business or as an entrepreneur is your own journey in itself. Catering to people is different. Catering to yourself during that journey is different. And just make sure that your ability, skills, and passion aligns together. That is what Mandonna has done for me, and that is how I've entered this journey. This is again something I've read in Ikigai, a book that I've read. So yeah, I read a lot of books. I think Mandonna helps people understand that a business doesn't have to be a typical business. A business has to be an alignment of your own values, and just to make sure that other people also subscribe to your values at the same time.
Diversity and inclusion are crucial in the entrepreneurial world. So, how do you approach these aspects within Mandonna?
So we work in the gender research and DE&I space just to make sure that, again, as I said, to factor in the tangible numbers in workspaces and to ensure that diversity is maintained. We collaborate with 4 kinds of institutions: academic, NGOs, corporates, and political institutions and government organizations as well, to ensure that there is never a dearth of diversity in these institutions. What we do here at Mandonna is we have an organization with people from all over India. As I said, communicate. We also make sure that every opinion is heard. And we also try to make sure that, not just the team, but people beyond the team are also making our decisions. How we do that is through platforms like our WhatsApp community and especially LinkedIn, to make sure that we are very transparent with our work and let people openly criticize or tell us what we're doing good at. Just to make sure that even if we can't get a wholly diverse team, we can get diverse opinions, and that can shape the future of Mandonna and the work that Mandonna does. I'd say within a small team when we started, we were just 3 people, then it went to 20. And those 20 people they were from different backgrounds, and we had different conversations, and they had different POVs as well. If we could do that in a mini team, Mandonna's mission rests that we can make it do larger teams as well. And that's what we're working at.
What's the best piece of advice you have ever received about entrepreneurship?
I think the best advice I received was from my dad. And he himself is an entrepreneur, and he said, just do things because you want to do those things, not because, again, as I said, you should do those things. That should negate the should statements from business. All right. And I think that is so important, not just for business, but an advice in general. The moment you remove the should from your life, there's too much calm, there's too much presence of mind, and you can actually apply that mind to things that matter. So I have been a researcher for as long as I can remember. And research was my forte and gender was my calling. And this combined to started Mandonna. Similarly, again, do what you want. Stop identifying or looking for things that others are doing and can be good at it. I think that's happening too much in this generation because at the same time, I truly understand that there's a lot of competition as well. People can't help it, but work in silos and try to understand what the others are doing and following it. Just, I think social media also adds to that. One advice that my dad gave was also to stay away from social media, but I can do that. But yeah, I think that negating the should statements pretty much works for me.
If you could go back and give yourself one piece of advice, what would it be?
I definitely say start being a perfectionist. I would say just start. Okay, so I'm an ideation sanctuary myself. So I've had a lot of ideas before Mandala, and I still keep having ideas. Mandala was the one I acted on the moment I had it. So I think I get that, we have to have some pre-work done, which is definitely necessary. But I think the starting bit is difficult. So if you keep thinking about whether to start or not, you will never do it. So just stop being a perfectionist, stop reading 100 books before you start it, just start.
So, as you mentioned, books. So, what's one book or resource that has had a significant impact on your journey?
I have read two books. I mean, I've read a couple of books, but two books that have really inspired me. One is Reworked. It's this pretty book with chapters as long as one page. And it really makes you, even if you're not from an entrepreneurship background, it makes you feel aligned with the idea of it. And it also makes you feel comfortable with the idea of it. For me, that was super important because, again, I was streaming from a different career altogether. And secondly, it's a finance book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I think that was necessary to make sure that, I also don't reach without having something at my disposal. It was to make sure that my capabilities, my capacity, my money building is as essential as my preach-worthy attitude. And it helped me align the both of them. So I was not a saint before I, started slaving into working and all. Well, that's not a problematic statement.
Thank you, Falguni, for sharing. Last question I want to ask is if somebody wants to know more about Mandonna, so how they can do that?
They can definitely reach out to us on Instagram, LinkedIn, our website. I just share it with you. They can reach out to us there. There are a lot of contact forms available. They can join our WhatsApp community, ask their questions there. All the links are available on our LinkedIn and other social media platforms, as well as our website. So there are a number of ways to contact us.
Thank you, Falguni, for sharing all the information and your powerful insights and your journey, because it will really help new entrepreneurs for doing and for who are actually struggling, who can actually relate with that. So thank you so much for sharing that.
Thank you so much, Trev. It was a pleasure to indeed talk to you.